Hi, I'm Brian from Atomic-Moto, and I'm here to do a review of the Sidi Crossfire 3 SRS and Crossfire 3 TA boots. The Sidi Crossfire 3 is the top of the food chain in off-road boots. It comes in two versions. I have them both here. On my left, your right, I have the SRS version, which stands for Sole Replacement System. It means the bottom part of the sole can be replaced. And then on the other side here, I have the TA version, which is a welt sole. Now, some of the details on these. First of all, the SRS version comes in sizes 41 all the way up to a size 47. And it weighs 4.54 pounds for this size 45. The TA version comes in more sizes, 40 all the way up to 50, and it weighs a little bit more, 4.72 pounds, a little bit more weight for this welt sole. Let's jump right into the sole. Now the SRS version, as I said earlier, stands for Sole Replacement System. This is something that Sidi has pioneered, and they've had it for a long time, and it's really cool. Basically, the bottom of the Sidi sole is a rubber piece that is attached to a plastic base by screws, and so the user can change the bottom of the sole, replace the bottom of the sole in his workshop with just a screwdriver. In addition to that, you can actually add extra variations of the sole, like this Enduro version here, which has some lugging on it, or a Supermoto version. Now, the SRS sole has this plastic base, and it is very, very stiff. This is the most stiff sole of any boot that we know of. On the TA version, it uses a good old-fashioned welt sole, which is stitched on. Also excellent quality, and the kind that we prefer because we're old school guys. And this sole can be replaced also, but you need to take it to a cobbler. All that's really cool, but the most important thing about this boot, and the coolest part about it, is the new and updated ankle pivot design. Now, Sidi's world famous for their ankle pivot. It's a dual pivot design. Really, it has two pivots on the inner and two pivots on the outer side, so 4 pivot points. And they do that above and below the ankle, which is the best way to build a mechanical pivot at the ankle. But what's cool about the Crossfire 3's ankle design is that they've added right here a mechanical stop for hyperflexion and hyperextension. Now, the reason for that is in some situations, for example, when your toe is on the foot peg, if you land off of a jump because you're a motocross racer, or if you hit a really big whoop or bump, if you're an off-road guy, and your toes are on the pegs, the boot can be bent up very severely toward your shin. And by having that mechanical stop at the end of the range of motion, it keeps your foot from being folded up against your leg. And this is just a good example of how Sidi approaches boot design. They're not just building a boot to look cool. They're staring at the boot, thinking about all the feedback they get from their professional riders, and trying to figure out ways to make the boot more safe, more technical, and have more performance. Sidi has a reputation for having a narrow fit, and for most of their models that is true, that is the case. But that is not true across their entire line. And in fact, there is no better example of that than these two Sidi Crossfire 3 boots. Essentially the same from the sole up, but the fit is very different. I'm going to flip around here and I'm going to show you. Now, the SRS version fits narrow, and you can see that when you look down from the top of the boot. You can see the shape of the boot is a little bit more narrow than most. The SRS version is actually one of the widest off-road boots out there, and you can visibly see that. There's a couple of reasons. Number one, Sidi intends it that way. They build the TA version to be wide. The second thing is that is a characteristic of welt sole boots. The way that the plastic comes down over the toe and flares out makes the boot a little bit more wide, whereas when you roll it under, like on this SRS version, it makes it a little bit more cylindrical. So essentially what you have here are two different types of fit for the same boot that fit a broad cross-section of the population. Now, there are a lot of other things about these two models to like, and there are things to like about the SRS versus the TA sole version. But that's a great piece of versatility, the fact that you can choose either one of these models to fit the shape of your foot. So what are our comments about the Sidi Crossfire 3 and how is it going to work out on the bike? Well, the first thing is The way that Sidi approaches boot design is something that we love. They are single-mindedly focused on making the best boot. The styling, the pricing, those things are all important, of course, but the most functional, most technical, safest, longest lasting, most comfortable boot is their goal. The second thing is, if you are looking for an off-road boot, you have to start your search by studying these two models. Now, you may choose something else, but you have to study these two models because they set the bar for how all other boots are designed and judged. They are great for motocross, they're great for dual sport, they're great for hardcore off-road, they're great for adventure riding. They have an amazing amount of protection. The ankle hinge design is, again, superlative. It's really easy, really smooth, so even though they have a ton of plastic on them, they just have this great flex. There's really nothing negative to say about these two boots. They're spectacular pieces of equipment, and you really should check them out. That's a wrap on our review of the Sidi Crossfire 3 boots. We are Atomic-Moto, www.atomic-moto.com, home of the Bombers. We are mission focused on finding great gear like these two Sidi models here and matching it up to you, your bike, and your type of riding. We're really product-focused shop, but we're also really easy to work with. We have easy policies like fast free shipping and easy returns, and you can check those out on our website. We also have a YouTube channel. We'd love it if you click like on the bottom of this video and click subscribe so you can catch future ones. And as always, we hope to see you out on your bike.